Hello viewers and welcome back to Sahara TV. Today with us is Mr. Justine Ijeomah, Executive Director of the Human Rights, Social Development and Environment Foundation. He's with us today to speak on the updates regarding death row inmates, 4 of which were executed in Edo State, and the 5th, the execution has been put on hold due to a petition put forth by Mr. Ijeomah and another group, LIDAT. Thank you so much, Mr. Ijeomah, for being with us here on Sahara TV.
Thank you very much.
So, sir, to begin, I think we'd like to talk about, well, in fact, that so far it appears that the petition has been successful in the case of holding Mr. Evhos from the 5th inmate that was scheduled to be executed in Edo State. They put that on hold, it appears, for a time. Now, I'm curious, sir, going forward, I know that the petition mentioned specifically that it was in violation of Section 36 that Mr. Ijeomah, according to Section 11 of the Robbery and Firearms Act, did not have the right to appeal. Mainly, the petition was based on that, the fact that he did not have a right to appeal, contravening both the African Charter on Human Rights and the Nigerian Constitution. So going forward, sir, how have the petition been holding up? And I know you filed a case with the Federal High Court as well as a commission to address this issue of this non-appeal that these death row inmates have. So can you give us an update, sir?
Yeah, it's a very terrible situation that what happened during the military era as a result of the military laws and decrees, and they instituted the firearm tribunal as a means to judge suspects then. And one of the convicts we are being tried by firearm tribunal. Precisely, Mr. Tangod Ebues, he was condemned and sentenced to death by the firearm tribunal in Kaduna. And the firearm tribunal did not give him the opportunity to appeal. And it's a very terrible miscarriage of justice, and also it contradicts the international law. And on that basis, the 4 were executed on 24th of June. Mr. Justine Ijeomah, Osawinda Ogeku, Daniel Insofo, and Richard Egagu were executed. And while thank God, also we are about to be executed, but when they read his death warrant, it was sentenced by tribunal, and the tribunal, the governor who signed the death warrant, to be executed by the first, and based on that, the executioner brought him out from the gallows and said that he had to follow the process of what the warrant, the governor who signed the warrant specifically said that he should be executed by public firing squad, and it should be in Kaduna and not in Benin, Edo State.
Yes.
On that ground,
Go ahead, sir.
We quickly filed a suit in the Federal High Court, Abuja, against the Attorney General of the Federation in collaboration with my organization, Human Rights, Social Development, Environmental Foundation, and later we jointly filed an appeal on behalf of the victim, Mr. Tangod Ebues, at the Federal High Court, Abuja, requesting that he should suspend his execution, and we also file an appeal on that judgment on the basis that the tribunal is a great injustice against Nigerian and international treaties.
Yes.
That the victim did not give, well, the law did not give him opportunity. The tribunal law did not give their victims opportunity to file for
appeal. Sir,
so on that basis,
if I may interrupt you briefly, I just want to know, sir, have you heard any updates from the court? I mean, have they agreed to look at your filing? Have they scheduled a date when they might have a review and make a decision? Can you hear me, sir?
The matter have not been heard. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
The matter have not yet been heard. We have served them. We have served the Attorney General of the Federation. We have served the Controller General of Prisons, both in Abuja.
Yes.
And we are waiting for the day of the hearing. And many legal officers have indicated interest in joining in defending the victim.
Okay, so moving forward, I know that recently the African Commission on Humans and People's Rights has requested that President Goodluck Jonathan rescind actually the entire directive that he gave to all 36 states.
And also we released a press release which was dated 26th June.
Yes.
In respect of this, which we specifically explain. And we are just saying as of the day, we are saying hold them and led up today, 26th June, file a suit at the Federal High Court Abuja Division with a suit number FHC ABJ/CX/453/13 against the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and the Controller General of Prison to frustrate the imminent execution of Tangod Ebose. That is the 6th death row inmate who was earmarked for execution in Benin without a right of appeal.
Right.
And in that suit that was filed by letter on Hosdef, we contend that to execute Tangod Ebose without a right of appeal in his case, it contravenes the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the African Chapter on Human and People's Rights.
Right.
The provision of the Section 11 precisely 4 of the Robbery and Firearms Act, under which he was sentenced, does not allow for an appeal against a judgment of a military tribunal. So Tangod has been in prison since 1988, following his arrest, and is presently being held in Benin prison in Edo State. And he was convicted for armed robbery and was sentenced to death by the same firearm tribunal on 30th May 1995 with a charge which have the charge number KD/ART/4/1990, and he was condemned by Honorable Justice J.S. Abilie in the Kaduna Firearm Tribunal.
Right.
And further,
going forward, sir, just a moment. Going forward, though, I mean, there's obviously other death row inmates all across Nigeria. So is there a larger plan to move actually to abolish the death penalty, or the fact that it's legal within the Constitution is your focus more on the fact that they should have at least the right of appeal?
For now, based on we are in democratic dispensation, we have a right of appeal. But in the era of the military era, they don't have a right of appeal. So on that basis is why we are challenging that judgment now. Because it's supposed to have a right of appeal, because it contradicts international treaty, and also it contradicts Nigerian Constitution. Because the Nigerian Constitution gives him the authority and power to appeal.
Right.
But the military decree does not give so. So that's why we have the grant to challenge it.
Right, going forward, of course, going forward to the fact that the Constitution was introduced following the removal of military rule. Now, still though, is there a plan in the future, besides the appeal process to be instated, to actually remove the death penalty from Nigeria's law books?
Yeah, that's what we have been campaigning for, the abolition of death penalty in Nigerian law book, because we have a clear conviction why we are asking for this. Because one, there is a lot of faults in Nigerian criminal justice system. There is a lot of lacunas. And like, for instance, a system that cannot be able to give justice to an indigent or poor person, that cannot be able to afford a lawyer to defend him in a law court, a system that cannot protect its citizens, a system that cannot protect or give justice to the poor citizens should not take life.
Right.
Yes, on that basis is why we are asking that automatically death penalty should be totally abolished in Nigerian law book. Because clearly, men looking at this system in this country, you will see that 92% of all these death row inmates, convicts in the prisons, are indigent people. Then where are they rich that commit the crime? You can see, for instance, that a man that the pension scam involving billions, we are only sentenced for 2 years, and just like a tap at his back, because he can be able to afford the best of the lawyers to give him, to defend him, and he gets out from the law hook. And why the poor who cannot afford this are being sentenced? So it's, the system in this country is outrightly enmity to the poor, and automatically our system is not giving justice to the poor. And the Presidential Committee on a review of death penalty have also said so, and different committees established by the federal government have also made that also known to them. But the challenge we have is, one, to implement it, and it's really, how can I put it in a way that our president, who this country have done a moratorium for execution, can go ahead and make a pronouncement that he advising the governors to sign a death warrant.
Yes.
Yes.
On that note, if I may, it seems so far that the Edo State governor has only been one of the only governors to take up this directive. Have you seen or heard of why perhaps the other governors have not followed suit? Is there some reason that they have not yet, or are they planning to?
Based on the presidential advice to some of them, we haven't seen anyone that have made any statement of following that suit, except Edo State governor. And also earlier, before people, I want to put the let the record be straight. Edo State governor signed the death warrant of these ones executed as of last year, 2012. And by then, precisely 19th October 2012, we filed a suit at the Federal High Court in Benin, Edo State, challenging the execution, stopping the prison authority from carrying out the execution of the death warrant that have already been signed by the Edo State governors, which unfortunately the judgment was given on June 24th, and the judge, it was not in our favor, and we also immediately filed an appeal and also serve an stay of execution to the Attorney General of Edo State and also the prison authority. And after receiving this, and they still go ahead to execute the email, is a very clear disregard and disrespect for judicial process. Yes. And the rule of law in this country, because it's quite appalling, because we are in a democratic dispensation, and if the legal representative like the Attorney General and also the prison authority can have such a disregard of the legal process and proceed to go ahead to execute the email. is a very,
Yes,
very
sir. Sorry, we're a little
powerful.
short. Sorry, we're a little short on time. I was just wondering, I'd like to ask you one last question. Based on what you've just told me about the ruling not going in your favor and the disregard for the legal process by the Attorney General and other members, are you worried this time around with the current petition and court filings that it will not turn out in your favor, or do you feel better about the process this time around?
We're not preempting the judge. We are watching, and we believe that he will do justice to the case. But I'm also using this medium clearly that this issue is not all about Tangod Ebosi.
Yes.
It's all about a system, a faulty system. And there have been many years clamoring for our criminal justice system. Is very, very faulty. And a reasonable government which have received different recommendations that this system is faulty, would have suspended anything about carrying out execution until this system is being reviewed. But Nigerian government ignored this and still go ahead to carry out execution. Yeah, there is a serious fear that this impunity might continue. And we are seriously afraid of that. And we also have many death row inmates that were also condemned even by the tribunal, and also there are some of them that were condemned. And when you're looking at the stories of many of these inmates, because I have gone opportunity to talk with many of them, and it's very pathetic. If you're looking at the judiciary, how they were, the system, how they were sentenced, you will see that if they have a good lawyer, a proper legal representative, I believe many of them could have been set free. But because they can't afford the best of the lawyers to defend them, and that's why they were being convicted. They were at the mercy of the same agencies that are prosecuting them to defend them. And what do you expect to get? So that's just a big challenge we are facing. And we are using this medium to really call the international community, the UN agency, the African chapter, and the African Union to really help and call upon Nigerian government to put a stop on any plan of execution. And also I'm using this medium also to call upon other governors to really not be involved.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm going to have to cut you a bit short there. We're a little short on time. But again, thank you very much, Mr. Ijeomah, to speak with us today on the updates to this petition that you have filed on behalf of the death row inmate and Edo State, as well as the ongoing fight to institute the right of appeal, as you stated, that was not instituted during the time of the military tribunals, but now is the fact that they cannot appeal is in contravention to the 1999 Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Mr. Justine Ijeomah, Executive Director of the Human Rights, Social Development and Environment Foundation, with us today, like I explained, to give us an update on the petition and court filings filed on behalf of Edo State death row inmate, thank God, Ebos, and other death row inmates across Nigeria to, at a minimum, reinstate the right of appeal and in the long term have the death penalty abolished. Thank you, and stay tuned to Sahara TV.